pretty good. I'm blessed, and I'm actually happy to be here.
Okay, that's what's up, man. We appreciate you for joining us and sitting down with us for a quick little interview.
Anytime, anything I can do to help. I'm Ramsey, DeYounte Ramsey. Most people call me Ramsey. That's what I prefer. I'm actually a graduate student and a faculty member here, or staff member here. I've been at the university since 2012. Got a 3-year-old son. That's my everything.
What clubs, organizations, and overall involvement were you a part of during your time at Whitewater?
As an undergrad in Whitewater, I did just about everything. So BSU was the start of my involvement. From BSU, I joined my fraternity, Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated. From there, member at AIGA, graphic designer for NAVA, conversational race intern. I went through the CLD internship program. Anything on campus that I could put my hands on just to get a little bit more experience or develop myself, I did. And I promised myself that transferring from my old school, that any opportunity to participate or serve, I'm jumping straight in. So I did just about everything.
How did you find yourself here at Whitewater?
Man, Whitewater is a school that's close enough to Milwaukee where if anything were to happen, I could go home, but it's further enough away from Milwaukee where if anything were to happen in Milwaukee, I could leave. Most people from Milwaukee that live in the city know how the city is. You know, certain parts are beautiful, but other parts of Milwaukee are just, you gotta get away from them, especially to develop who you are, so you can come back and give back and change some of the situations that take place there. So I found myself here at Whitewater after I transferred from a school called Barry University in Miami, Florida. Why did I come back from Miami? Just got too expensive, and I was honestly a different person than I am now. By myself in Miami, 17 turning 18, it's a lot of like trouble, distractions, and I was at a university that I felt didn't really take the time to invest in me or care about who I was as a student. Now, my first semester here at Whitewater was completely different. It was the people who were welcome, the students were welcome, and the faculty and staff were extremely sincere about my safety, my well-being, my education. That's how I wanted to be.
How was the African American community when you got here?
It was pretty dope. I would honestly say we were truly a family. Every BSU was larger. I was one of my first meetings I went to on campus, and the room was packed. Anything that we did together. You will often see us around the UC having conversations about literally everything. If it was an issue or a situation that one of our family members were dealing with, you had to deal with all of us. We spoke, we broke bread, we partied together responsibly at that. We made sure that the family was taken care of.
So what's one impactful event that you would say happened during your time here?
BSU homecoming 2012.
The year gotta be impactful.
Yeah, second semester here. Like I said, I made a promise to myself that if once I transferred schools, I was gonna take whatever step it was to just jump into everything. So I wanted to be in vice president for BSU my second semester. I came in January. So the next fall in 2012, January 2011. So next fall in 2012, we had homecoming parade. Not homecoming parade, I'm sorry, the variety show. And our theme was storybook with Willie. I believe that was a homecoming thing. And BSU chose Mother Goose. So we had this full rap, including all the nursery rhymes, just freestyling from I think the instrument we used was Black and Yellow. And we just showed out. We had the entire auditorium, Young's Auditorium, just cheering. It has to be some sort of video around here. I strongly encourage not just the members of BSU to see it, just so they see how we had fun, but that's one for the books. We took the trophy home, and just seeing the joy from the organization, from BSU itself, and how we just kill every variety show. Super impactful for me because that let me know how much talent our community of color here has and how much potential. We just shut it down, and that first experience here was a big part of the reason why I continue to serve now.
What's the topic that you believe should be discussed in our community?
Right now, I feel like it's a lot of conversation going around about this idea of toxic masculinity. not throwing any shade or anything like that. I feel like it's a good conversation to have, but I feel like it's too much attention focused on the issue itself. What we need to start discussing is, I think Tony Dungy came up with the concept of uncommon manhood, trying to figure out strategies to redefine what manhood actually is, especially in this day and age, and developing certain strategies and actions, to follow. This is what I'm gonna do. So strategies and conversation, that should be the conversation about uncommon manhood, or redefining what manhood is, not necessarily continue conversation on that toxic masculinity. Now that should be a part of the conversation, but we also have to talk about progressive solutions instead of just the issue in itself.
What were some hot topic issues when you were in undergrad here?
From a university standpoint,
from any
always the conversation's always been inclusion and diversity. Just trying to get people to understand here that students of color really have it hard here. Not only are we trying to come to school, get our education, and make sure that we are figures in our family, pulling our families up and ourselves up. We are also tasked with the obligation of setting an agenda or assisting the agenda of the school with instructing students. Sometimes the faculty and staff what diversity actually is. Sometimes that's a hard topic, but that was always the hot topic, and I believe to a certain extent it still is today. And a lot of the students are faced with the task of taking on multiple roles that honestly they shouldn't be, but hats off to the people who are strong enough to do so. And in the end, it's all gonna pay off, and the work should be continued.
What's one of the biggest resources that you utilize?
Career and leadership development. It's a family, and I would honestly say that career and leadership development, well, many people say it's the best kept secret here on campus. In some way, shape, fashion, or form, career and leadership development is connected to every aspect or facet of campus, whether you're a student or whether you're an administrator. It's some of our students that are connected some way, somehow. The internship program for me allowed me to develop so many different skill sets. So you got the opportunity to jump from this position to that position and just add more to your repertoire and build who you are as a person. Not to mention, it's just great people. People who are concerned about growth, like in a sincere sense. Growth as a student, growth as a person. This is one of the best resources I would say for students, and I try my best to make sure that I let students know about the service. Students, current students, potential students, COD, it's a good place. I'm not just saying that because I work here. I'm saying that because I actually see myself develop from start to finish, and I wouldn't be the man I am today if I did take advantage of the resources that we offer.
What's your proudest achievement from this university, or while being at this university?
Getting hired. I honestly say that's proud. That's what made me extremely proud. Not because I got hired, hey, I got a job, but just knowing that there were certain things that the university seen in me that I could assist in contributing to the students. My main priority here is to give back. In conversations with even you, your chapter, most of the students, I'm sincere about everything that I do. And being able to be a part of the organization and transition from a student to somebody that can actually connect and be of service to the students, our proudest accomplishment ever here at the university. Just taking that transition from student to staff, being in a position where I can help. And as long as I got a breath in my body, I'm gonna help.
Who's the most influential African American to you, and why?
It's so many. Right now, I say Will Smith. I look at a lot of his videos, and now being a father, understanding how he looks at life, breaks things down, and the relationship that he has with his children. That's something I aspire to be. I know that progress starts with the youth. They set the trends. They have the power, the livelihood to make sure that things continue. So it's on us older, or us as parents, to make sure that we're planting the right seeds, and just looking at how he lives his life, how he gives not only to his friends and family, but just to the world, you know, just what he understands and concepts that he's breaking down. I really feel like that's one of the most influential African American men here, and somebody that I aspire to be like, but better than. You know, I always want to make sure I'm taking that step further so I can do the same thing and get back to the next generation. So Will Smith, most definitely.
What is your quote of the day or your favorite quote?
Trapped in a maze, therefore I am amazing. Like that just it stuck with me through like from high school to now. And growing, I really put it in perspective and I try to use it. Like you don't understand how great you are, and how much potential you have until you realize like, what you navigated through. And when I was a kid, you know, 16, 17, listen to it, I'm like, oh dang. But when I ain't got that fire, like, you know, just mimicking it. But when I became a man and I started understanding, like, man, I went through all this stuff in my life and now I'm here, it really made sense, you know. Once we empower ourselves to get through what we are currently going through, or once we take that opportunity to step back and look at where we came from, you understand you're amazing. And a lot of people really need to keep that in mind. So, trapped in the maze, therefore I am amazing. Like, I feel like that was one of the hardest bars that Wayne said that really rang true to my life, and a massive majority of other people too.
Do you prefer African American or black?
Honestly, I really don't care, you know, as long as you respect my melanin, that's it. You know, understand that people of color are proud, and that's it. Like, respect me as a man, respect my heritage. You can call me black, African American, but respect it one way or another. That's as real as I can put it.
So you know, a lot of people outside of the culture kind of like deal with kind of tiptoeing around or not really knowing how to approach different situations. Like, what's one thing you would tell them to like keep in mind so that no matter like what situation they like approaching or what they're trying to ask or what they're trying to do, like they would go about it the right way? What would you tell them to keep in mind?
Patience. You know, sometimes you really don't have to speak. I feel like a lot of people try to react first instead of taking that time to step back and understand. You know, patience and perspective. It'll really allow you to handle a lot of situations differently. You know, keep in mind what somebody else may be thinking. Sometimes people aren't as malicious as we perceive. It's just the sheer fact that they may not understand things the way we understand them. And once you know take a step back, you know, get your chi or whatever you want to call it leveled out, you know, make sure your vibes are okay, look at situations differently. All situations will probably be handled a lot better. Patience and perspective. Put things in perspective and be patient about your approach. Don't just snap off or be quick to react. You'll learn a lot.
What's a resource that you feel is underutilized?
Books. Books. Too much social media. You know, we got all these unanswered questions, and most times, like keeping it a book. A lot of questions that we answer, that we ask now, have been asked before us. We just don't take the time to read, you know, and research and actually sit and synthesize the information that we have. We just figure like, oh, this problem is impossible to get through. Like, read, check out, you know, reclaim your time. You know, that's what you should be doing. So, books, the right books, you know. But I feel like that's one of the most underused resources, just books, and they're free. You know, library, especially if you're a student on campus, you can check out any book, be it textbooks, and as textbook rentals. I'm sorry. Using your student ID. If you got a class and that you're not taking, and you see something that's providing information that's going to allow you to move forward in your life, check that book out for the semester. Read it, take notes, and send it back. Same thing. If you're in a library, you see something that's fruitful, it's going to allow you to develop and grow as a person. Or if you're researching different problems that you are facing, check the book out. Read it first and sit on it, you know, and then have engaging conversation with somebody else that's been reading the same literature, so you can, you know, synthesize information and share, you know, with that person learn. So, free resources that people really don't use. Everybody's world is on a telephone now.
Just to end it off, what's one thing that Ramsey would want everybody to get, or one lesson that Ramsey would want everybody to get out of Black History Month?
Y'all should already know, man. Spread hope and truth. Right? The fight for us as people of color, it's not over. It's a lot of truth that we don't know about ourselves that will allow us to shift far beyond where we are now. but we just gotta keep going. You know, we're not a lost people, and a lot of people try to discredit us and say that we are. And it's time now to make sure that we staying together, and we just vibing. So that's one thing I would say, especially now being Black History Month, like spread hope and truth. Understand your truth, spread it, learn. Like what we said about the resources, like read, it's there. Stick together. That's all I would say.
That's 100. Thank you for being with us today, Ramsey.
No problem, man.